What is up, everybody? How we doing? UFC 288. It's gonna be great. Just looking for my mate. Not sure what happened here. What's up, everybody? Olin, let's go.
We are back. Sorry about that, guys. That was the weirdest situation. I don't know what happened. It literally, I like the music cut in my ear, and all of a sudden, it wouldn't let me click on the tab that had this open.
I think all we're missing was the Rocky Balboa music. I was sitting there getting my shadow boxing in. I thought it's like a little 80s montage. I'm like, okay, here we go. A little solo. Go,
man,
here, baby.
I apologize for the amateur hour opening here. I'm not even sure. Did it play the full opening? I don't know what happened there.
I believe so. Yeah, it jumped to me.
Cool.
I welcomed everybody. I said UFC 288 is going to be great. And then I said, where's my mate? There's an older, where's my mate?
Well, I'm glad you took the reins. I appreciate it. Again, welcome to the show. It's not without technical difficulties today, but we are here. We are ready to go, and we are super excited, man. We got UFC 288 coming in hot today. Got a couple of changes to the show. We're not going to be doing the Kinda Okay Parlay. We're going to be doing a little game of bet versus bet, and I'm
changing
super
it up on y'all.
about it.
Yes,
super
debut,
stoked.
the new one. I think good juju here. I'm excited, brother. Feeling good about it.
Let's get it. So, without further ado, we are going to be jumping into UFC 288 today. There's a lot of really, really good fights on this one, guys. We are going to go ahead and start off with I say we start right off with the main event, and then we work our way down. What do you think?
Dude, why not, man? I mean, this is the main show, right? Let's give the people what they want, right? I mean, hey, if you tuned in early, you're welcome. This is an exciting one, man. This is what we would call a legacy fight, I feel like, right?
Absolutely. It is definitely a legacy fight. It is something that will 100% be detrimental in terms of the legacy of both of these guys moving forward. You got Aljamain Sterling, aka the Funk Master, coming in against Henry Cejudo, aka the King of Cringe, aka Triple C, aka the Olympic man himself. Man, since I left you on your own to start off the show, who am I to take the reins now? I'll let you start this one off, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Might as well take the stage here. Thank y'all for tuning in, as always. But yeah, brother, like you were saying, hey, last time we saw Henry Cejudo, the Triple C, the triple champ, right? It was a few years ago. I mean, we have to admit, it's been over 3 years since he's competed in the octagon. And that was when he retired, obviously, over still having that dominant performance. But before that, excuse me, Henry having, going out on top, right, with his dominant performance, going out in the division here. Now we have who's the kind of passing of the torch in terms of the new great in the division here, right? We have two dominant wrestlers. I think it's a fun stylistic matchup. I think we have two strong guys. I think Aljo might have the edge a little bit in the strength department, but in terms of two technically sound fighters, in terms of guys that are going to show off their IQ, show off their championship grit, and two guys that, in my opinion, are two of the best in the division of all time. I mean, if there's a Mount Rushmore, it's a short list of people that are on that list. There are two of them. Obviously, got the Mighty Mouse in there. Maybe someone like Dillashaw, even though not one of my favorite people ever. But again, we're talking about two all-time greats here, a legacy fight for the bantamweight division. Can Henry join the John Jones and the George St. Pierre, the guys that are able to go years without fighting and then to come back and victorious and to come back and reclaim that gold? It's a very short list, right? Again, only John Jones, only George St. Pierre. But again, we're talking about Triple C, man. We're talking about greatness. Even though he's cringy, I gotta admit, he's a little cringy here. Now, maybe I'm channeling a little bit of my inner cringiness, but man, it's hard to bet against someone like Triple C, right? I mean, let's keep in mind, again, he retired on top, but since then, he's been training the other championship fighters within the UFC, right? We need to go through that real quick here. People like Thug Rose helped her gain her title back. Devierson Figueroa, right? In his quadrilogy against Moreno. The one fight that he beat Moreno was when Henry was in his corner. Wei Li Zhang helped her regain her title as well. John Jones helped him regain his heavyweight status, the double champ status. And then even other notable fighters, not just those champions, but other notable fighters like Korean Zombie, Yuri Prohashka, Demetrius Johnson, who we've seen and has some really awesome content online with Henry Cejudo, speaks highly of him. Again, got to give Henry the nod here. He's a triple champ. He's a film junkie. He is someone that has mastered the ability to break down his opponent, establish his game plan, really hide his opponent's strengths, but most importantly, highlight their weaknesses, right? And then obviously highlight his strengths or his fighter's strengths in that fight to execute a great game plan and then win flawlessly. It's a beautiful thing to watch. If you watch all of those fighters, if you watch Henry go in there and fight, you see it. You see it with his movement. You see it with his strikes, whether it's the different combinations he's throwing or the feints to set things up. There's no wasted movement in the octagon when it comes to Henry. Again, he's a triple champ, and then he has that wrestling pedigree to really nullify anybody in the octagon. He's only 36, Aljo's 33, about to turn 34. Although I feel like the layoff, typically the ring rust, I do think that's a real thing. But I think this layoff has allowed him to stay healthy in terms of his body, in terms of not putting his physique and everything through different training camps. And he's still been staying active in terms of the coaching, in terms of still being in the gym 24/7, so in terms of still being in relatively decent shape. I mean, he's still going to be able to make weight. We're going to notice all that. And really, I think Aljo's best paths to victory is if he can use his range. That I think it's 6 or 7 inches of reach advantage he has on Henry. He is the younger, more explosive fighter. Can he become a backpack? Can he get Henry into compromised positions? I just don't think so. I think his only path to victory is where Henry shines. And again, I think he's going to come out, but show a high IQ, show he's the triple champ. He has this, they both have similar paths after this, so it's really who's going to walk that path, right? It's going to be, they both want Sugar Sean next. They both want the 145 champ next. They both want to solidify themselves as maybe the best bantamweight ever in the UFC. Say that because Mighty Mouse is obviously, I think, the best bantamweight ever, and we'll talk about him later. But, man, I can go on and on about this, brother, but please chime in here. Well, I can't talk about it enough. This is going to be a fun one, brother.
This is going to be a really, really exciting one. I could definitely chime in here a little bit. So, a couple things to take note of here. Again, we're talking about Aljamain Sterling, the Funk Master himself, coming in against Henry Cejudo. Now, the last time, something notable here is the last time that we saw Henry Cejudo was quite some years ago, right? When he retired after a dominant performance over Dominic Cruz. Before that, he had dominant performances over TJ Dillashaw as well as Marlon Moraes. That Marlon Moraes performance wasn't 100% perfect, right? Not all of his performance were unpolished or, what's the word I'm looking for here? Without flaw, right? They weren't flawless victories, but he typically finds a way, comes back and wins fights, even when he's not looking like he's doing so well, right? We've seen him do it again, time and time again. Now, across from him stands, in my opinion, one of the most discredited and unliked UFC champions we've ever seen in Aljamain the Funk Master Sterling. As usual in the MMA game, and for me to be here to point out to you, there's a little bit of irony when it comes to the win-loss records here of Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. Now, Cejudo has a pretty semi-recent win over Marlon Moraes, as I mentioned before, and Aljo's most recent loss in the octagon came by the hands of the same man, or should I say feet or shins of the same man. He literally knocked him out so hard the dude dabbed when he hit the mat. It was disgusting. Even Aljamain Sterling was laughing at that meme. So again, if we're looking at MMA math, that would tell you right away that Aljamain Sterling is going to go in there and he's going to get pelted. However, as we've said time and time again on this show, and we will continue to say until we're probably blue in the face, MMA math doesn't really work, ladies and gentlemen. It all comes down to watching tape and seeing stylistically how these people match up against each other. And when it comes to Triple C, who has aspirations of becoming C4, when it comes to this man coming in here after a 3.5, almost 4-year layoff, he's coming in against Aljamain Sterling, who is somebody that is extremely game, extremely ready. And again, I feel like this is not an easy matchup by any means for Henry Cejudo to come back to. Aljamain Sterling does a lot of things really, really well. One of the things he does best is switching stances and constantly putting something in his opponent's faces. He's not trying to hurt you, right? He's just trying to annoy you, keep pepper in your face, because if I'm poking you, if I'm prodding you, you don't know what's coming next. Maybe it's an inside trip. Maybe I'm going to circle out and hit a single leg on you, right? You don't know. Or maybe I'm just going to keep pressuring you and pushing you and prodding you and poking you and just being annoying. Either way, those things win me the round if I'm Aljamain Sterling. So, not going to sit on the fence here. Both men are great athletes. Henry Cejudo has definitely done more in the sport, even with being retired for the last 3+ years. But I simply think Aljamain Sterling gets it done here. I think he's a bad matchup for him. There's a height and reach difference in this one. And again, Henry Cejudo is just on the wrong side of all of these things. When you look at the kind of stylistic matchups between these two, again, you have the classic wrestler versus striker / BJJ guy. Every single one of Henry Cejudo's finishes are by way of knockout. He doesn't have a submission, right? And then on the other end, you have a more well-rounded guy who has more submissions to his name. It's 64 inches to 71 inches as far as reach in favor of Aljamain Sterling. It's 5'3" to 5'6". So the height difference isn't that huge, right? But it's going to be hard for Henry Cejudo to throw head kicks or anything other than body and leg kicks if he's utilizing his legs. And also, if he does throw those body kicks, he's going to have to get his legs up pretty high even just to do that. And that's going to set up a pretty easy pick / takedown for Aljamain Sterling. So again, for those reasons, I just think Aljamain Sterling is the better man here. And I think he gets it done. He's been more active. He just had surgery on something that's been bothering him for some years. And he looks to be better than ever. And I think we'll probably see that.
Oof, man. It's hard to argue against that, brother. He make a lot of good points. And honestly, I think the things I thought about here in terms of Aljo's best paths to victory, like you said, hey, use that size. I mean, he is a big 135er, probably a true 145er, if we're being honest.
He said he'll probably go up after this fight, realistically, win or lose. And it makes sense because his best buddy, Merab Dvalishvili, is right there in title contention, and it doesn't make sense. Oh, here we go. Damn, are you saying Aljo can take him down? I actually posted a tweet about this, I think 2 days ago.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
go check it out.
Not only do I think he takes him down, this is what I said in the tweet. Not only do I think Aljo takes him down, I think he makes it look a lot easier than we're assuming he will. I think he's going to get a very, very slick. I don't think it'll be like a typical double leg or single leg. I think he probably catches a kick and just hits a quick trip. Do I think he'll be able to dominantly control Henry Cejudo on top? Not necessarily. But I think that whether he's on top or on bottom of Henry Cejudo, he presents a lot of threats as far as submission threats. Threats that Henry Cejudo hasn't really had to deal with in his MMA career.
Yeah, and he does have the advantage there, right? I think, again, although the wrestling's nullified, although he might be able, like you said, just use his athleticism, use the chain wrestling, use his youth, maybe the ability to mix up the striking, use his length to explode, get in there, grab a leg, won't take much. I think that's kind of what your video was showing as well. If he can grab a leg on Henry, pretty likely to get him down. Turned into a backpack, he keeps referencing that. I do wish that we would have saw the Corey Sandhagen fight versus Aljo a little bit longer. Why I say that is because I think that's where Henry might be looking at his path of giving Aljo a hard time, right? Don't give him a straight place to shoot. Don't just stand in front of him. I mean, use the octagon. He might be running around a lot. I could see Aljo just instantly command in the middle. Henry might be kind of running a little bit, but hey, I'm picking my shots. I'm picking my angles. And he's an Olympic wrestler too. I mean, he's going to know. It's like playing chess. He's going to be maybe not 2 steps ahead like he normally is. He might be maybe half a step ahead or maybe at that same level. Okay, this is where he's going. Oops, I'm in the wrong spot. He might come with this. It's going to be very tactical. I think it's going to be a slow start even, right? They might, again, I'm expecting Henry to maybe attack the legs, maybe throw some knees, throw some high kicks to get Aljo thinking about it. You know, Aljo's, again, he's going to want to get to his backpack. He's going to want to use that length, get inside. I don't know, though, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun 25 minutes.
I think it's going to be a very, very entertaining 25 minutes. And I don't think it's going to be an easy night at the office for either party involved.
No.
Make no mistake. That is not what I'm saying here.
These guys are all-time greats. Like you said, the last time Aljo was put away, it was years ago. And, I mean, it was nasty. I mean, Marlon Moraes has one of the, I mean, an all-time awesome top of league guy in that division, right?
Yeah.
But it was a while ago. I mean, Aljo's been leaps and bounds, and I do think the experience that's a big deal, man. Like, it's a big deal. Henry has all the other intangibles, and I know he's going to be ready. But it's different when you're not in there, right? I mean, it's different.
It's different when you haven't been in. Like, there was an interview that came out with I think it was one of those fucking annoying Nelk boys. But he was interviewing Devin Haney, and he was like, how much do you weigh? Yeah. How much do you weigh right now? Like, out of camp? And he's like 150 pounds. And dude was like, "Oh man, I'd beat your ass in a street fight."
He said, "I'd beat your ass." I was like, "No fucking way."
Haney doesn't even bat an eyelash, and he's like, "Okay, bro." Like,
he's like, "No." He's like, "I would kill you."
You don't like. He's like, "I would kill you." You don't know how to take a hit. Like, you're not used to getting hit. And he's like, "No, I've been punched before." And he's like, "Yeah, you've been punched by people in the street who don't know how to throw a punch."
Yeah, it's like you don't know how to.
I get punched for a living by people that punch people for a living. Like,
and Haney's one of the best punchers of the best punchers. Like, he's fighting one of the greats. Like,
and Devin Haney, if that match happens, will send Gervonta Davis to the grave.
Yeah. And I hope Bradley Martin was kidding. He kind of laughed it off, like, played it well. He didn't like double down on it.
Very serious.
He did. I mean,
and I love how quick serious Haney literally said, I would kill you.
He's like, bro, no, I would kill you. Like, I'd kill you. Listen, I would kill you.
Like, he wasn't even like he was flexing. Like, he put his dick on the table. He's like, bro, come on.
He's like, nah,
you would die.
Kill you. Yeah. Like, no, let's not get this mistaken. Like, brother,
you would punch me and get hurt.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, you're not gonna touch me, and I'm gonna piece you up. And it sucks because, like, I mean, I love working out. I mean, maybe I'm bigger than the average guy, but it's like, come on. I would never tell. I don't care how big or small you are. Like,
dude, no.
I would never say I'd fuck you up. It's like, come on. First off, even if I was an amateur boxer, I shouldn't be saying that to
if
a
it's
guy
an
like
80-pound difference. There's no chance I'm saying that.
It doesn't matter.
Fighter.
It can be 200 pounds. It doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, come on. What are we doing here?
What are you doing here? We're not.
What are we doing here, guy? Yeah,
but it's like that. The reason I brought that up is because, like you said, it's different when you're in there. Henry Cejudo did that for a living, but it's been 3 years, and that, like, 3 years not getting punched by someone that's literally trying to take your head off. It's different when you're sparring somebody versus, like, sparring somebody. They're trying to help you get better. They're training you for something. It's very different when someone genuinely wants to hurt you, because if they hurt you, they get 2 paychecks instead of 1.
Sleep in the satin sheets, right? I mean, Aljo is still trying to get there. I mean, Henry's double champ, triple C. I mean, Olympic pedigree. I mean, he has it all, right? And he obviously retired a bit early, people would say, right? Kind of in his prime. And there's a reason. He's doing good. Life is good. He's, living just fine. So those satin sheets, man, is that going to come back to bite him? We'll see.
100%. And before we move on, last thing I'm going to say about this fight before we move on to the next fight.
Can't get enough of it, but yes.
Hot take incoming here. Look, I get that Henry Cejudo is an Olympic medalist wrestler, right? Like, he's Olympic class wrestler. That's fine. And I get that Aljamain Sterling is nowhere near that. He's a D3 wrestler. Okay? I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, and the last to tell you, if you need me to be, that collegiate wrestling does not equal mixed martial arts wrestling. Okay? It's not the same. And if you want to argue with me, that's okay. You guys can go crazy in the chat. You can go crazy on Twitter, and I'll bring up one very quick example. Okay? Daniel Cormier, Olympic level wrestler. A great Olympic level wrestler with a lot of strength. Okay? John Jones, a junior national champion collegiate wrestler.
Just gotta throw that in there.
Like, not D1. Like, yeah. So, by all rights, the junior national champion wrestler probably shouldn't be the first and only one to get a takedown on Homeboy, right? With the Olympic medal. Right. Yeah. So moving on. They're not the same, guys. It's not like your ability to take me down and control me is very different if when you're coming in, I'm hitting you in the face with a knee.
Yeah.
Or I'm uppercutting you to the mouth. Or
exactly.
The nose.
Yep. Throwing kicks, like if
strikes. I'm able to clinch you and like sweep you and then just pummel you, like there's a lot of different thought process that goes into it. And there's a lot of different threat level that goes into it. So again, collegiate wrestling, Olympic wrestling, they do not translate 100% into mixed martial arts wrestling, right?
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
You will have a baseline. You will have a skill set as a wrestler, but that does not mean that you're going to be better than opponent A just because he wasn't as good of a wrestler as you in high school or college or after college, because maybe he has 10 more years of this whole MMA thing than you do. And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Even if he has 2 more years than you, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think, and I'd make a case, I think it's kind of the style of wrestling too, right? If it's, let's just call
freestyle versus folk style, like versus your traditional
just
or
a blanket
Dagestani.
over it, but I was gonna say Dagestani Russian style, that kind of smothering, debilitating, whatever it is.
And that's different as well because Sambo has striking. So like they're already used to that threat level of the strikes coming in. You can't throw certain strikes that you can throw in MMA, but still, knowing that you can get punched or kicked when you're shooting those takedowns, it adds a different level of expertise because now you know how to navigate those incoming dangers.
Yeah. Yeah, there's never one path, right? I mean, in any position, you have maybe 10 moves you can make and different decisions you can make at any point. So,
you can be the best Olympic swimmer in the world, but okay, cool, dude. You've been swimming in Olympic pools. Come to my river and let's see who can last longer swimming up the current. That's what they do in Dagestan for fun.
And it's freezing cold. Yeah, there's no pool climate inside.
Like, I don't know if you guys watching have seen that video of Khabib, but literally, like, they all go to the lake or like this river, and it's like a killer current, and they just take turns seeing who can swim longest against the current.
Yeah,
that's what they do for fun. That's why they're better than us.
Probably.
That's why their cardio is better than ours.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't know about you, but like after a tough day, what I do for fun is like I'm gonna jump on the Xbox, maybe play around a Fortnite or like Dead Island, the new one that came out. Yeah, I'm not swimming upstream. I'm not a salmon, dog. It's not me.
So, big chilling. Maybe a walk to the park with the dog. That's about it.
You feel me? Like, So jumping into the next fight. I'll go ahead and lead this one off. We got Bilal Muhammad going in against Gilbert Burns. Ooh. So, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Honestly, there's a lot of things to go over in this one. Remember the name. On to you, Emiliano. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, there we go. Another toss over.
Let's go. I do have like at the very top of my little tagline here, remember the name. So, with Burns having been in more wars, especially more recently, like with Khamzat and Usman, I feel like Bilal is not only riding more momentum coming into this fight, but also coming in with a lot less wear and tear on his back or on his body in general. Bilal has also proven to be a problem for basically any and everyone in the division. I don't think Burns is going to prove to be any different here. I do think very highly of Gilbert Burns. That last win that he got over Neil Magny, incredibly impressive. But I could see this fight going somewhere similar to the Khamzat fight, but I think Bilal is going to be a little bit smarter and more technical across the entirety of the fight. So I think that Bilal is going to lead the dance here. I think he's going to have the better wrestling. I think that his clinch work is going to set up a lot of takedowns for him from the cage and turning Gilbert out. And I just think that Gilbert isn't very strong when it comes to knockout power at this weight class. When he was at lightweight, he definitely had a lot of power. He was also cutting way too much weight to get down there. So it's a trade-off, right? It's a double-edged sword there. In this one, I just think Bilal's going to have his number everywhere the fight goes, anywhere the fight goes. After this fight, I really hope more people will be remembering the name, pun intended. And I can't help but think that not only does Bilal win this, but I think he wins this and then leapfrogs Colby Covington to get a title shot. What do you think?
Look at you, man. You're full of hot takes today. Let's go. I love it. Pulling out all the stops for 288, my mate. I don't fully disagree with you, brother. I don't. I am super excited for this fight. I think I definitely agree in that this is a number one contender fight on our hands here, ladies and gents. Both of these fighters are on hot streaks on their long and impressive UFC careers. I mean, two are all-time greats in this generation. Two of my favorites, both inside the octagon, both outside. Hopefully they're Hall of Famers one day. Hopefully they get a crack at it in terms of another championship title defense here, or an opportunity at, I should say. But again, hey, both of these guys, man, they're game. They're dogs. They took this fight on 2 weeks' notice with the knowledge that, hey, the winner gets the champ. They know what's at stake. They've worked their whole lives for this. Bilal's 34, Gilbert's 36. They put years, blood, sweat, tears into this, man, for this moment to take on 2 weeks notice. There's something about that that's super exciting to me, man. But again, everything on the line, they're risking it all. I think we're going to see the best versions of these guys. This has fight of the night potential written all over it. Gilbert did fight just about a month ago, and now will be fighting 3 times in 5 months. It's pretty darn active at his age. However, really hasn't taken a lot of damage in those fights, outside of the weight cut itself. But like you just mentioned, Olin, he's maybe not a true 170 pounder, right? I think he's kind of a tweener. He's fought at 155. He's now up here. He's settled in. I don't think that weight cut is as bad as it is for some other fighters. So do I think all of that is going to factor in on his gas tank? I don't think so. I think we're going to see, again, a good version of Gilbert. I do think he's going to be prepared, and he's shown a good blend of the striking. We know he has heavy hands, but man, his wrestling, his grappling, we know his jiu-jitsu skills are off the chain. He's coming in, man, really strong. A lot of momentum. I love Gilbert again, but to that point, I don't see the scenario where he gets a victory. I think Belal is very similar to Gilbert, but just more well-rounded. Not as heavy-handed, but just an all-around great fighter. I think his X factor is, for Belal, his X factor here is training with Khabib and those Dagestani boys. They're ruthless, man. He talks about them. He's been impressed with their style, loves it. It's motivated him, and it's shown in his last few fights. And even that, not just the wrestling pedigree, but even his striking has improved tremendously. If you go back and watch that fight he had against Sean Brady, who's another dog, that really caught my eye and earned my respect for Belal to say, hey, this dude can put it all together. He's not just a boring, crotch sniffing guy, as Jorge would like to call you. No, this guy is fun. He's a well-rounded dude, and he's blazing the way through the division, man. He's earned this title shot. He's earned this position through hard work, through years, through going through everybody, whoever they put in front of him. And same with Gilbert. I give them both props. But again, Bilal's a stud, man. I think he just is too good everywhere. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit more technically sound. I think the wrestling and the grappling will be the X factor here. And again, I think we'll get a really cool call out with Belal. Getting his rematch against Leon. Maybe he'll do something funny about mentioning the eye poke or whatever. But that's going to be a banger, man. I'm excited to see this one. Burns second round KO. JJ Smoke, always bringing the smoke, man.
Dude, JJ Smoke bringing the hot takes.
Sheesh.
He thinks always. Burns second round KO.
Top rope.
Dude, I don't know. JJ.
It can happen though. It can happen. Gilbert can put you away, but I can't think of the last time I've seen Belal
at light. Since he moved up from lightweight, has he had a knockout, Gilbert?
He's knocked down Khamzat, I guess. But
he knocked Khamzat down, but I don't think he's had a knockout since he moved up in weight class, right?
And I don't think Bilal's ever really been hurt, man.
The last person he knocked out was Damian Maia, and that doesn't count.
It's fair. It's fair.
Come on, guys. The last person he knocked out was Damian Maia. Damian Maia, that was in 2020. Damian Maia shouldn't have been fighting in 2020. I know, yeah, he KO'd Maia, yeah. But I got to be honest here. Just like I typed in the chat, JJ, I think Gilbert is going to get Burns.
Yeah. I love Gilbert. And JJ, not to just go against you here, but Belal, man, he's only been put away once in his entire career. It was back in 2016 against Vicente Luque, who's a dog.
Who's a dog?
And let me hear your argument. What makes you think, is it just Gilbert's relentlessness? Do you think Belal's not going to respect it? Do you think their kind of games nullify each other? Because again, I think they're both pretty damn well-rounded. Gilbert's explosive, he's springy, man. He wants to come out there. He's going to throw some heavy shots. Belal's pretty darn honest, good.
I don't think Gilbert hits as hard as Vicente Luque or Jeff Neal. And Jeff Neal couldn't put Belal away. Yeah. Vicente knocked him out in the first round.
So those are bigger guys.
Seconds in.
Yeah.
Those are bigger guys. Vicente's a big 170 pounder in my opinion. So yeah. I don't see it happening. It's a possibility, but it's not a probability in my opinion. But I appreciate you bringing the smoke as always, JJ. Keep it coming all day. Moving into the next one, guys. definitely want to hear your picks on this one. So please drop those picks in the comments section right now. Would love to put those up on the screen. So we are going to be going over Jessica Andrade going in against Yan Xiaonan. This is a great fight, in my opinion. This is a really, really fun one. I'll go ahead and take the lead on this one. Going into this, everything inside of me said Andrade by absolute power. She is just a pit bull of a woman. She gets it done. She's a workhorse. But I have learned recently to never bet against Yan Xiaonan. I don't always bet against her, but every single time I have, I've lost money. So with Yan coming in after a big win over Mackenzie Dern and Andrade coming in after a big loss to Erin Blanchfield, these two are meeting at very opposite ends of the momentum structure here. You got one going up, one going down. Yan's wrestling defense and scrambles, speaking of that last match, are what stood out the most to me in that recent outing against Mackenzie Dern. Her ability to scramble, her ability to defend the takedowns, and her ability to keep the fight where she wanted it, and at all points of time, control the pacing of the fight, was honestly brilliant. Gave me a lot more established confidence in Yan's wrestling and abilities in mixed martial arts as a whole. And what Alpha Male's been doing with these people is nothing short of amazing. What they've done with her, what they've done with Song Yadong, like all these guys and gals are coming up and they're growing so much at that gym right now. So great training facility to be at, in my opinion. And looking at her opponent, Jessica Andrade, I saw the opposite thing stand out to me in regards of her last opponent and last performance. The lack of ability to get back into a control position once Blanchfield took her down and took over the momentum leads me to believe that Yan, if given the opportunity, could probably do similar. Also, Yan is surprisingly strong from what I've seen, coming in with 7 KO/TKOs compared to Jessica Andrade's 9. Now, when we think of KO artists at this lower weight class, the 115-pound women's division, we definitely don't think of Yan Xiaonan, right? We think of Jessica Andrade. But again, it's two TKOs or KOs that separate these two women as far as the number of KOs, TKOs they've had. So Yan is surprisingly strong. I don't think by any means that she's going to get a knockout over Jessica Andrade, but I do think that she ends up edging out pretty heftily a decision win here. What do you think, Nano?
Oof, my guy. You just 10-8'd that freaking review on that fight, man. That was a great breakdown. That was a 10-8. Attaboy. Love it, man.
Thanks, brother.
I think you mentioned a lot of great points. Like, you really added some good color to both these fighters. Ultimately, I feel like there's going to be fireworks, right? One of my favorite female fighters in Jessica Andrade is facing off against a B.A. bad A word, Yan Xiaonan, aka Fury, which is exactly what she brings to the octagon every time she fights, man. Those punches and bunches. She's throwing those sneaky leg strikes with, no showing of it, right? Just from the hip, boom, it's coming up hot. She is someone that brings violence, and I think Jessica's a perfect dance partner for her. And for us as fight fans, as people who love violence, they always say, styles make fights. Mark my words, man, this is going to be a fun one for as long as it lasts. Talk about that a little later. But this one is a toss-up for me. I mean, you do mention, again, a lot of good points for why, Jessica can go ahead and win this. But Yan she's no joke, man. I really started to like her more and more of like the highlights and different previous fights of hers that I've watched. I do see a scenario where Yan will be able to keep Jessica at distance a bit more, again, with her blend of like leg kicks, the spinning elbows, her furious combinations. She has good grappling. She has good defense. But again, Jessica Andrade, man, she has a way to control the fight. She's a bully. She can beat and pretty much knock out just about any female at 115, 125, maybe 135. Who knows, man? She's a heavy-handed, strong, athletic woman. I think if she makes it muddy, she sticks to the meats and potatoes, and maybe even throws caution to the wind a little bit. I think that'll favor Jessica Andrade and her heavy hands. And again, maybe a little bit of like the, not grappling, but I guess maybe a little bit more of the wrestling, maybe a little bit more of a jiu-jitsu advantage coming from Andrade, again, because she's going to be the stronger opponent here. Andrade has finished 8 of her last 10 opponents. One of those fights was a weight class above, so that's why she didn't get a finish on that opponent. But again, I think that streak's going to continue. I do think that this is going to be a fun fight. Again, it's a toss-up for me, man. You kind of convinced me that Jan Zenon can get it done. I wouldn't be surprised, brother. But Jessica, oof, she's always got a striker's chance. So can Jan survive 15 minutes? Can she fight a smart fight? She throws caution to the wind, man. It might be over quick for her.
Oh, if it turns into a brawl, it's not going to be a fun night for Yan Xiaonan.
and she's tends to do that
every sense of the word, dude.
Yeah, she's an animal. I love her, man. I love the way she fights. She's one of my favorites. And yeah, I mean, if it ends up there, that's not going to be good.
I mean, she's a lot of fun. I think it'll be good. Ultimately, who do you think?
I was leaning Jessica. But I mean, again, the way
that's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick.
But I think
it's hard for me to bet against Jan. I've been burned betting against Jan.
That's the thing. I think I have to agree with you. I think I was on the fence. I think based on how well you put it together there, I would probably lean Jan now.
Like I bet on Mackenzie Dern, and like no joke, Jan's coach like responded to me and was like, haha.
Like smiley face. Okay.
Yeah, like same one that I ended up running into at the Sacramento airport like last work trip, because he started following me that day on Twitter, and so he saw the tweet pop up and he's like,
"Let's go.
You bet wrong." Like,
so
yeah, I
got the receipts. No,
I will probably never bet against Jan again.
I love it.
Win, lose or draw. You know,
I wouldn't be surprised if she wins. Yeah, I think she can get a dub here.
I think it'll be a fun one. So. This next one is very interesting, right? The original one was supposed to be Movzar Evloev going in against Bryce Flat Earther Mitchell himself. But Bryce Mitchell obviously got into a scuffle with the original Power Rangers movie villain, Ivan Ooze, if you saw the pictures of his shoulder. If you haven't, go look him up. Looks like he definitely lost a fight with Ivan Ooze, if you ask me. So he pulled out of the fight recently, and just on a few days' notice, we had a young man named Diego Lopez, who you probably haven't heard of. Me, as anything but a casual MMA fan, I hadn't heard of him.
Dude,
but I did some research.
Know him either.
Yeah, I did some research. I looked them up.
No shame in that, y'all. No shame in that if you don't either. Don't act like you did either. It's okay.
Yeah, don't act like you people knew who the hell Diego Lopez was.
Or don't
act like you knew it spelled with an S. Like everybody thought it was spelled Lopez. Come on.
I would give you props if you spell that right. I would give, because I mean that is saying something. But come on.
So yeah, I could definitely take the lead on this one if you want, but I feel like I've been taking the lead on a lot here. I don't want to steal the thunder.
I can mix it up here. I'll jump in here. But yeah, brother, like you mentioned, I mean, Diego Lopez, somebody, not a household name by any means, but hey, took the fight on 4-day notice. That tells me if you were to take a quick scan on him, you crack him open, he's got nothing but dog filled inside of him. I think what stood out to me is the fact that this dude has 11 submission victories and 8 finishes TKO or KO. It's extremely impressive for a 28-year-old, regardless of whether or not it was in the UFC. I think that's really impressive for me. He also has been in the same training camp with current women's flyweight champion Alexa Grasso, which I thought was really impressive, really cool as well. Just to be around another champion, seeing them work. She's only going to bring in the best of the best. And hey, I mean, the bread is in the pudding, or I should say the leche is in the horchata or something, man. There's something in the water out there in Mexico. There's a lot of good talent. I know he's sharpening iron.
The leche is in the horchata? Is that a thing?
It's basically milk over rice milk, but leche
the milk. The leche is in the horchata. That's what they say.
So they say. I've heard it a couple times. Maybe in certain blocks or neighborhoods. Maybe not. Who knows?
You know that.
Catch on. Everyone knows. Everyone knows this. But again, he's in a strong room. Okay, he's sharpening iron with other sharp iron. Okay, and yeah, I mean, this is going to be a legit test for Evloev, I believe, somewhere around there. Movzar Evloev has been tested in the past, and he has passed those tests with flying colors. He's got a 4.0 GPA. His decision win against Dan Ige, his age like a fine wine, like our girl Shakira, you know. But Movzar is technically sound on his feet. He possesses that neutralizer in his Russian wrestling style that we just talked about earlier. Great segue. But the way he throws that 1-2 straight down the barrel of the gun, if this guy Diego, this young cat, if he doesn't show respect for Movzar's power, may not end well for him. for Mr. Lopez here. So I am going to take Evloev by decision. He is a calculated fighter. He tends to maybe go decision versus trying to seek the finish. And man, I mean, Diego took this on 4 days notice. I mean, anything he showcases is a win. I don't think he can lose at all, really, even if he does take a loss on the record books. But dude's a stud, man. You never know. What do you think, brother? Carry us home here.
I mean, there's a lot of different points to be made in this one. Again, coming into this, I had no idea who the young man is, Diego Lopez. Now, again, Bryce Flat Earth Mitchell fell out of the fight, so we got Diego Lopez against Movsar Evloev. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Diego stepped in on just a few days' notice to face a surging phenom in Movsar Evloev. The man is undefeated. He's an absolute crusher of a man. And Diego, on the other end of this, is 2-2 in his last 4. That's 2 wins, 2 losses. But this man is doing exactly what he has tattooed across his chest, damn it. And that is dream, believe, and make it happen. However, this will be no easy night for the young man, as he's going against a very well-rounded fighter who can get it done anywhere the fight goes. Diego's coming into the UFC off 2 back-to-back KO/TKO finishes, while his opponent Movsar actually hasn't been able to find a finish inside of the UFC octagon thus far. As we say in this sport, Diego does have a puncher's chance, and I actually cannot wait to watch this one unfold. Now, again, I think the biggest thing to look at here is the fact that it's really hard to block the power of self-belief. And this man has it tattooed across his darn chest. Dream, believe, and make it happen. Okay? I thought he was going to get killed until I saw that tattoo. And then I was like, man, if homie's like confident enough to get that across his whole chest, fuck, he's probably got power in his hands. And then I looked him up. Okay? And let me tell you, the guy... Do I think he's going to go out there and just masterclass Movsar? Not a chance. Do I think he's going to go out there and beat the brakes off Movsar? Again, not a chance. But do I think he has a puncher's chance? Yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, the guy's 20-5, and he's got 7 knockouts, 11 submissions. Out of 20 wins, he's only gone to the judges' scorecards twice. That's a terrifying thing for a man that, knows nothing about you, because I promise you Movsar didn't have Diego Lopez on his radar now that he's a big-time UFC fighter, okay? He's looking at top 5, top 10 ranked opponents. He's not looking at Diego Lopez. But as JJ Smoke has to drop here, Diego Lopez about to die this weekend. I got Evloev, second round TKO. I'm with you, brother.
Facts. I'm wondering that tattoo, the more I think about it, I wonder if maybe there's like little periods in there, and it's kind of like a eat, sleep, repeat. Like it's like a dream. Period, right? And then you believe. It's like, yes, you do that. And then what do? You make it happen now. Maybe it's like a cycle thing. Unless you dream about believing and then that makes you happen. There's a lot to take in. I mean, that thing got some...
Brother, he's had 20 fights and only 2 of them have not been finishes, okay? That tells me one thing above all else. The man fights like a run-on sentence. You don't think he's got a tattoo of run-on sentence on his chest? Come on, brother.
The man is seeking a finish, but... yeah, and doesn't finish sentences either.
He's not worried about the period.
Yeah.
He's just worried about making a statement.
Finish, and his tattoos don't finish either.
So I'm excited about that fight. I think Movsar wins? Yeah. Realistically, yes.
Yeah,
but I think it's gonna be a fun fight. And in the next one, I definitely have to take the lead on this one. I'm stoked about this one. Let me just go ahead and here we go here. It's a tale as old as time, guys. I scream. You scream, we all scream for ice cream. You know what? That's right. Ice Cream Crone Gracie is back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fight fans of all shapes and sizes. The Ice Cream Crone will be back in the UFC octagon for his 7th, that's right, 7th professional mixed martial arts fight. The man is a Gracie. We all know his name, and this is only his 7th professional fight. And it's the first time since his loss to Cub Swanson. Now, I know you might be thinking like, oh man, trying to pull at your core memory banks, like that old Disney movie, Pixar movie, Inside Out, trying to dig in the depths here and remember, why does that name sound familiar? Crone Gracie. I feel like I know him, but I haven't seen him in years. You would be correct. You haven't seen him in, by the time Saturday gets here, it will have been over 1,300 days since Ice Cream Crone has been inside of the UFC octagon. Again, his last fight was against Cub Swanson. He decided to make the very unwise decision to stand with Cub Swanson instead of using literally what his last name is, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Instead, he decided to stand and bang, which was just not to his detriment. It was not to the greatness of his results. He lost, he got beat up, and he took 1,302 days off. And now he's coming in against an opponent that, again, just like the last guy I was talking about here, is 2-2 in his last 4. Charles Air Jourdain has struggled to find consistency above all else inside of the UFC octagon, mostly due to his decision-making and fight IQ. Sounds like somebody else I was just talking about. Ice Cream Crone? Anybody? So, another fighter who's willing to go out on his shield and entertain us fans rather than fight strategically to win and rise to championship status. I think this is going to be a tale of who's willing to play the smarter game here, the more patient game. Charles Jourdain with his striking, or Crone Gracie with his grappling. I think I'm rather hoping that we see Crone come into this one a little bit smarter himself after trying to strike with Cub. I would assume he is going to go with the ultimate wet blanket approach here. Just be an absolute wet blanket on top of Charles until he gets the sub and makes Charles make a mistake and give that up to him. I realistically think that he gets the sub here, but I could also see him getting greedy on top and getting a TKO or KO finish here. What do you think, Nano?
I love that analysis, man. A lot of enthusiasm in there. And like you said, man, we got Ice Cream Cron, we got Akron, we got Chronosaurus Rex over here, man. We got the youngest of the legendary fighter and jiu-jitsu master, Rickson Gracie, who we can argue, at least, but the Gracie family knows he's the best Gracie fighter out of the entire bunch. Yes, better than Royce Gracie. This is all, again, confirmed, right? This man has supposedly had, or confirmed, has had over 400 fights, never lost. Dude's a legend. So he comes from a powerful lineage. His dad is, a legend, we can say. So can he get back on track? Can Ice Cream Cron over here, can he get back on track after a 4-year layoff? TBD, man. I mean, we know what his advantage is. Pretty sure his opponent, Charles Jourdain, knows what his game plan is going to be. Can he avoid the takedown? Can he not grab an ankle? Can he actually put some fists to his face? Can he hurt him? We'll see, man. There's a lot to find out. But this guy, Charles Jourdain, is coming off 2 losses. So it's tough. They're both really in kind of do or die positions here, you can say. But again, for Charles, those 2 losses were against Shane Burgos and Nathaniel Wood, both in 2022. But both are really strong, really competitive, top tier fighters. So I don't really knock Charles for that. And like you said, man, he has a fan-friendly style. He's very strong offensive game and is always looking for the finish. Dude has 12 of his 13 victories are KO, TKO, or subs. He's even got a little swag to him, I've noticed as well when you see him in there. Talks a little crap. He's got a little moxie. He is the younger fighter. There's a 7-year age gap here. And again, Cron's taken 4 years off. You never want to see that as you get older. And I do think Charles is the more explosive, more dangerous fighter as well. For that, I'm leaning for the DraftKings betting favorite here. I think Charles will probably find a way to get it by decision. But like you said, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Cron finds a way to get a sub within 15 minutes. Wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't be shocked.
Crazier things have happened. Crazier things have happened.
Yes, sir.
So we have one more fight to talk about here. We got Mr. Drew Come On Over Dober versus Matt the Steamroller Frivola. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Okay, I'm not even going to take over full screen here. Drew Dober is a fan favorite. Matt Frivola is a fan favorite. This fight is a fan favorite fight. I honestly don't know how this one plays out. I don't know who's going to win. Both guys have very dynamic striking, and both guys are willing to stay in the pocket, fight through the fire in order to burn you with their own fire and flame. What does that mean, right? That means that I'm sitting on the fence a little bit here, but I am going to fall off that fence on one side or the other, and that side is going to be Matt the Steamroller Frivola. As handsome of a young man as Drew Dober is, and as much as I enjoy his fights, Matt Frivola follows me back on Twitter, and that's pretty fucking sick. So I'm going to be rooting for that guy super hard.
That's dope. Didn't know
JJ
that.
Smoke is saying first round KO. I hope you're wrong because Drew doesn't follow me on Twitter. No, No, seriously, in all reality, I think this is going to be a very closely contested fight. I think Frivola, if you told me this fight was happening like 2.5, 3 years ago, I'd probably have bet on Drew Dober. But realistically, Matt Frivola has showed drastic changes and upgrades in his game. He's looked really strong and ready to go. I'm going with the steamroller here.
Yeah, I love that, brother. And I think the reason why he's looked so good is because he's part of a championship camp. He's training with Ray Longo. He's training with Aljo Sterling. He's training with Merab. I mean, those are dogs, man. So, he's, surrounded by greatness. That's going to make him better. And he's shown, again, great on his feet. Dude can swing and bang. Swing and bang. Swing and bang goes down the same. He swings and bangs.
He can swing and he can bing.
He can swing and bing and bing him. He swangs and he bangs, baby. But yeah, man. I mean, I think if he can utilize some of that wrestling, I think that is kind of the X factor here. If they both just throw caution to the wind and are just swinging and banging, Drew Dober's a dog. I mean, he's that southpaw. We saw him put Bobby Green's lights out. He is a 2-time amateur national champion. I know it's levels. We talked about that earlier, but he's a national Muay Thai champion, 2-time amateur. Asterisk. But hey, national champ, man. Dude can swing and bang.
Muay Thai. That's tough.
And he can take you down. He's a strong, explosive athlete. Not just that Clemson chin and the good jawline and the Zac Efron look, but the dude can really throw it down. So I love Steamroller though as well. I mean, I think if I'm going with my heart here, I'm going with Steamroller. And I think his path to victory is, hey, can he use some of that wrestling? Obviously, I know you can go out there and strike, but don't just go out there and swing and bang for 15 minutes here. Get the takedowns, get some ground control. Yeah, you just can't do it with Dober. Red Rover. Drew Dober will send over a TKO.
A TKO from hell. He will send over heavy hands and some shit that you're not going to be excited about. Sure.
Put you in the deep depths of space there, man.
The deep depths.
Deep depth.
So it sounds like we're both a little bit on the steamroller here.
I think so. It's going to be a fun fight. Yeah. I don't think this one sniffs a finish, but give me a steamroller, baby.
I definitely see this one not going to the final bell.
No.
I think somebody's gonna wake up and get bought a beer by whoever knocked them out. Real
Absolutely. Talk. And I think we've already hinted at what we'll be chatting about here soon, but we're putting our money where our mouth is. Okay, we believe in what we're saying, what we're talking about.
Speaking of which, we'll go ahead and jump right into that. So we are going to be doing a little bet versus bet action here. See who gets this knockout. Last one felt kind of crispy, bro.
That was nice. Hey, come on now.
Lean back now.
Ooh, off the center line.
So we'll go ahead and jump right into it. We'll jump into Olin's picks here. So we got a couple things coming at you. Here, guys. We got Yan Xiaonan money line, Bilal Muhammad money line, parlaying that together. We're doing $5 as one unit for our overall scoring here, and we're going to go over in the recap episode who gets the most units here. So we got 5 to win 27.82, and then moving into the next one, we got Rafael Estevam coming in against Zalgaz Zumagulov, otherwise known as the long lost Beetle with that new haircut. And I got that just flat money line, 5 to win 7.77. Felt like a lucky bet. 3 sevens, can't go wrong. The next one, we got a little 3-pick parlay action here. We got our guy, the main squeeze here, Rafael Estevam, Aljamain Sterling, money line on both. And then we got the under 4.5 rounds for Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. That fight being a 5-round fight is just a fucking blessing, because under 4.5 on that one, I think is definitely money in the bank. Now, these last ones, one of them's going to win, I think. And the other one's not. So we got Crone, the Ice Cream Crone himself, to win via submission, plus 240. 5 gets you 17. Followed by Crone to win by TKO, KO, or DQ, plus 1,600. That 17 that I might win if he wins on submission, just went ahead and threw that in there. And that turns into 289. So those are my picks. Let's see what the man, the myth, the turkey himself is working with.
Let's go. First off, you got some solid picks there, man. It's hard to rival against it. I mean, in ways I think I agree, but then again, you might see here we agree but disagree, right? In the blue corner, we got our 3-pick parlay here, going juicy with it. Few units down, and again, each unit is $5. We got our own little system here that we're working on, so bear with us. But again, we got good positive odds here, man. Again, we mentioned that fight, Jessica Andrade, Zionanyan. 2 girls that will swing and bang, 2 girls that are looking for a finish. I think they'll throw caution to the wind. I don't think that'll sniff a third round even. I think someone will go in, get rocked early. That'll be a fun one for as long as it lasts. This was a tough pick, and I saw the positive odds. Like we talked about it, the more I break it down, man, as much as I love Gilbert, I think Bilal will find a way to get it done, right? Could it go the distance? I think I agree with you. I think maybe he can get it done within 4.5. Maybe within 3 even, if he can, string together the wrestling. If he can, he can strike, man. If Gilbert doesn't go in there and respect his hands, Bilal will put him on you, brother. So I think he'll find a way to get it done. And then this is where we do disagree. We'll probably be doing a shot here over the weekend. At least one of us will be on the loser end of the championship, the main event here. But I got Henry Cejudo, man. I'm betting against, or I guess I'm going with the greatness. I'm going with the triple champ, gonna reclaim his title, gonna do what he says, go against Sugar Sean next, then go up to 145 and just continue his greatness, man. I think he's in a class of his own. I think Aljo will be a tough test. I don't think he'll lose any stock, but I think Henry will find a way. And it's some pretty good odds there, so come on. And then on the right side, we're going a little different approach. We got Demetrius, DJ, Mighty Mouse, a.k.a. the best bantamweight of all time, a.k.a. Mount Rushmore, a.k.a. just an awesome dude. We got him facing off against Adriano Moraes over in 1FC. We'll be chatting about them here in a little bit. But I saw those odds. I thought they were juicy. Think he'll win the trilogy here, stamp himself as the best, one of the best ever to do it. He did mention this might be his last fight, so I think that's extra motivation for him. And dude's just too good, man. He looks like he hasn't lost any pep in his step. He's a legend. Come on, what are we talking about? And then we got another one here. We got Drew Dober versus Matt Steamroller Favola. Hey, man, we were just talking about it. We're going to see fireworks. We're going to see 2 guys going out there looking for a finish. They both have finishes in their last 3 fights. Come on, we're going to keep the streak going here. Give me that at the at minus 205. So a 10 or 2 unit bet will get us 24.5, close to 5 units. Come on, baby. Win us some money. Treat me nice. You like that one? I think it's a lock, man. I do. I agree. At least we got one lock in there. And we'll see, man. I mean, we're covering our bases. Someone's winning big. Someone's hitting home. And again, we got our red corner versus the blue corner. We got some unis up for stakes. We got bragging rights.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited
awesome,
about it, man.
This is fun.
On the blue corner, we got 5 units to win 32.5. And on the red corner, we got 7.4 units to win 74.9 units. I didn't realize that mine's literally like basically 10x. Exactly. It's like 7.4 to 74.
Yeah, literally. That's awesome, man.
Weird how that played out.
I know. That's interesting.
So yeah, we will definitely see. I feel like I may or may not have bit off a little bit more than I can chew here in this first one, going big or going home, so to speak. And JJ Smoke is all in on Nano's bets here. I asked the chat who has the better picks, and Nano is the one with the vote here. So here we are. We'll see who wins. May the best bets win. That's it for UFC talk. I did want to have one quick little discussion before we part ways.
Yes.
And chat, please feel free to chime in on this one. As you know, it's not just UFC this weekend. We actually have one championship. They're having their big US event here. We're going to have Sage Northcutt on there. We're going to have Stamp Fairtex on there. We're going to have the trilogy match between DJ and Moraes on there. But we're not actually going to talk about the fights. We're going to talk about something that I think is even more important, to be completely real with you. And that is one championship, pros and cons. Why are they not more of a rival to the UFC in the US space? They've been around for a long time. They have a lot of money. They claim to be very, very profitable, despite what other people online are saying. And I think that there's a lot of upside to one championship. It's just a matter of what could they be doing differently. So if you have any ideas in the chat that you think that, or that you would like to see from one that would make you more of a fan or make you more likely to tune in, please drop them in the chat. We'll kind of trade back and forth here. I'll go ahead and start off with my kind of biggest thing that I think that they could do better, right?
Yeah,
so
talk to me.
So I've been thinking and racking my brain, right? What does UFC do better than one, or that one isn't doing at all yet? And, what it all boils down to is one puts on top tier cards. They put on great paced events. And Mary, for example, my gal, she actually enjoys watching their product as much as, if not more than, the UFC, because people get to wear their sponsors. They get to wear personalized shorts and kits. Everybody feels like they have, very much uniqueness to them, and they're themselves. They have their character showing through in every way. But I've realized that even if you have the best talent in the world in the sport, nobody cares if the steak doesn't have sizzle. So, I've seen names of fighters, and I'm putting this into perspective or into kind of wording here. So what I mean by steak without sizzle is I've seen big names on this US card. Just like I mentioned, right? We have Sage Northcutt, we have DJ, and I've seen posters and things like that. And I've seen them post, AMAs on Reddit, which is really cool. It's great to be able to ask the athletes that questions. But what happens if nobody knows the athletes that you're posting AMAs with? Nobody cares enough to ask questions. And if they do, they're already super bought in as a fan. So you're not really getting any new fans there. So I've seen posters, but I have not seen a commercial saying, "This is Sage's first fight back in 3 years. Will it be the end of a dream or the beginning of a new chapter and a hopeful and inspiring journey to the title for Sage Northcutt?" Like, that would be so easy.
I love that. Yeah.
To just like make a quick 10, 15 second promo with Sage Northcutt. Like, you could literally just go to his Instagram and pick videos from his Instagram to use for the promo, and just add a voiceover. And I haven't seen anything like that. So like, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that? And like, I guess what would be your caveat to that, or kind of your follow up?
I love that, brother. I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, right? I think that, man, they do have a great product. JJ Smoke, I agree with it. I mean, they're right behind UFC, no doubt about it. I think they do offer a great product. I think they're doing a lot of great things. To answer your question, I guess most directly on like what they could be doing or where they're lacking, I quickly just looked at their Instagram. They have 7.5 million followers. Looks great. My first thought was like, oh damn, it's pretty awesome. Go to UFC, they have 36.9. I think not really establishing themselves maybe in any country just yet. I don't even know where they're based out of, but they're just now finally coming to the States. So hey, that's awesome. I mean, getting the US eyes, probably number one, in my opinion. I mean, there are other countries, wherever they're based out of, or there are other countries that have an appetite for fighting in general. So, hey, grow the market. But I think, like you said, like, we don't know these fighters. We don't know the narrative. We just saw Dana White just blow up the Power Slap League. Really, I think just based around their initiative and putting effort in TikTok and showcasing their product. Like, this is the cool knockout we get in Muay Thai. This is might go viral for the wrong reasons, but this is someone getting their freaking leg chopped off in a freaking jiu-jitsu match. Like, do you want to see something kind of cool? Like, I think they really need to emphasize that push there. Because I think what will happen is fighters and the talent, which obviously is kind of where it boils down to as well, we'll see, hey, they're allowing us to have that individuality, that showmanship, as maybe other organizations or boxing or just other places, or maybe they're just not getting in the UFC. And then again, like what you're actually getting, the other thing I love is the hydration clause. I think their approach to hydration should be should be standard practice. But hey, at least like if you are a true fighting fan, you're getting the best version of these fighters in there. Come fight day, maybe fighting more at their true weight, things like that. But then again, you're getting all of like the best disciplines. Like if you are someone that loves MMA and you have an appetite to get a little bit more or just dig in, and who knows, maybe you end up loving a specific discipline, a jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or Muay Thai or MMA or something blended in the middle there, right? DJ Demetrius Johnson fought against Rod Tang, who's also on this card, who's a freaking stud. Dude's 25 years old, a Muay Thai prodigy, like a generational talent. And to be honest, I mean, I think someone like Rod Tang and someone like Adriano Moraes, DJ's opponent, even though he's a little bit older, he's 36, these two would give a lot of UFC guys problems. I mean, they are straight up elite killers. Like, and I'm sure they have more, right? But there needs to be that bridge over event, I think, is kind of my last point. You know, there needs to be a Sugar Sean O'Malley or a Corey Sandhagen go up against that 135, 25-year-old Rod Tang who's a freaking stud. And maybe you do it like, maybe you meet in the middle, right? I don't know if Dana would ever do it. I don't know if he would ever see value in really helping another, cross promotion outside of like boxing or Mayweather when they know they can make millions. But
the owner of ONE has already said that he would be more than happy to do something like that, but he would only do it with UFC. He would only go versus UFC.
I mean, why else? Who else would you?
Why downgrade yourself to, like, no offense, but like Bellator? Like, there's a reason they're selling to PFL, right?
Yeah.
I personally think PFL is going to end up overtaking ONE as the number 2 MMA promotion in the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, and I think one PR move most recently that doesn't look good is not signing Francis and saying that it's not for monetary reasons, but it's something else. It's like, then what is Francis asking for?
Well, he apparently asked to sit at the board. He wanted to be a board member for ONE championship. So he wanted a lot of pull.
Like on the board of directors, like kind of like big time. Oh.
Yeah. He's basically going the Conor McGregor route where he wants his stuff.
I mean, if he has the money, if he's going to help, I mean, but then I guess maybe that's conflict of interest. What does he add to the
table? It's a conflict of interest. He doesn't add a ton to the table. At that point, they would have to pull legal strings to get him to fight. So for them, I think it was a no-brainer for them to get into the conversation of getting Francis without the intent of ever actually obtaining Francis.
Yeah.
By talking about getting him, you're saying you're willing to put your heavyweight champions against the best heavyweight in the world right now, even if you don't actually intend on signing him. And you're also getting relevance and people talking about you that have heard of Francis, but haven't actually watched ONE championship. So you're creating relevance for yourself free of charge, essentially, right? It costs nothing to negotiate. So smart move by them. But I do think they dropped the ball by not obtaining him. I think he'll go to PFL. He'll either be on their like pay-per-view series. He'll headline their like first card or second card for that. Or if he decides to fight in the season, I think he kills everybody in their heavyweight division and probably just wins an easy million there. But I heard ONE apparently offered him $20 million. I don't know how realistic that is or not, but that's the rumor that's been going around.
Multiple
right?
fight contract, maybe, or something.
That's the thing. I'm not sure. To my knowledge, they were offering him $20 million outright, like for a fight. So like a one fight deal for $20 million. But I don't know. That's also a scary thing to be offered a one fight deal for $20 million because you make your $20 million. What if you lose? You lose all relevance, and that's your last big payday.
All leverage too, yeah.
All leverage gone. So he's between a rock and a hard place. Last point I will make about ONE championship and the things that they could do better here. So this is their poster. I love this poster. I think it's fantastic. The colors are great. You can see all their like main headliners here. It feels less lazy than a lot of the more recent UFC posters that we've seen as of late. Again, not mad at this poster at all. What I am mad about is the fact that that poster is pretty much all I've seen. Okay. ONE does a really great job of being present on social media, you know, your Facebook, your Twitter, especially Reddit. They do a ton of AMAs and things like that on Reddit that are really cool and things like that. What ONE does poorly is represent themselves literally anywhere outside of social media outlets. I can honestly tell you, like, I watch a lot of different TV shows. I watch anime on Hulu. I watch like adult cartoons on there too. Watch a lot of stuff like series on Netflix and on Paramount Plus. I literally just finished watching the new episode of The Challenge right before we started taping today. So I have all these different streaming things. I also pay for old school cable, and I watch cable every now and then, you know, when I'm watching sports events. So the point I'm making here is I have all these streaming services and cable and all this stuff. I see hundreds of commercials, and I have not seen one TV spot or promo on television or on any of these streaming platforms for the big upcoming US ONE championship card that is going to be streamed for free if you have Prime Video. So like it's just a massive misstep. You've put together this massive card, probably going to be the biggest card of the entire year, and I don't feel like it got any kind of a marketing push more so than any of their other cards have. So the people that are already fans of ONE will tune into this and it'll be like a treat for them. Just like the people that are already UFC fans will tune into 288. But the difference is like 288 will promote things, and maybe they'll have like some random celebrities post some things about it, just much to your tune, like they did with Power Slap, which I'm not a fan of at all and don't want to promote, but they've done a goddamn good job of promoting Power Slap.
Yeah.
Like they had Mark Wahlberg doing it. I just said I just finished watching the challenge. Literally, they had a Power Slap commercial come on at the end of like one of the last episodes I watched on cable of the challenge.
There you go.
And then on Twitter,
smart.
Johnny Bananas is literally like getting the powder on his hand and slapping himself in the face to promote it. Like,
that's funny.
they pay these celebrities to do things, to promote things, and they do a really good job with it. Like they have that Nina Marie Daniels chick that's like a really big social media influencer. She was standing behind me in line at UFC San Diego to get beer. And now she's got like millions of followers and she's promoting
Let's
UFC.
go.
And now she has a clothing line. Like,
wow,
they're
awesome.
very smart with their marketing, dog. Like,
yeah.
I just feel like one has all this money and all these things that they're doing. Like, the best thing that one's done as far as marketing, in my opinion, real talk, is letting Sexy Alma jump on that Physical 100 show.
There you go. That was a fun show.
It was.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, it's. I mean, I guess they are on Amazon Prime. I'm seeing that now live on. Looks like maybe YouTube or Facebook as well. They're on Friday, so it's like, hey, you're not even actually competing directly with the UFC. No reason not to be pushing it more. And honestly, I mean, Bare Knuckle is another one that, man, they had a great event. I think they might have kind of pushed themselves. Granted, maybe because it was kind of a lighter UFC card. I hate to call it that. It wasn't a pay per view.
Matter.
Let's just call it what
they
it was.
won the weekend.
But man, they had a stacked card. That was fun to watch. That was fun to watch.
They did it at the best time.
Yeah.
They knew UFC wasn't going to have a huge card at that point.
It was on earlier, so they had it on a little later. Yep. Was able to watch the main event, then still watch like the main, I think, 3 or 4 fights from BKFC. So
I think the biggest thing people need to realize is like, in order to make a ton of money in this sector, like you don't have to compete with UFC. You just have to find your lane. And like, especially if you can run your thing like perpendicular with it on a Saturday where I can finish watching UFC and then can still watch your entire main card. Stoked. I will be a fan. That's the first like BKFC card I've watched. Not a big fan of BKFC. I think it's super barbaric, but fuck, that was a really good card. It's hard not to watch when you have Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold and Eddie Alvarez versus Chad Mendez on your main card. Like, it's really hard not to watch those fights. And same thing, like again, with one, you've got Stamp Fairtex, who I think is phenomenal. You got Demetrius Johnson, who would be on my Mount Rushmore without a doubt. You got Sage Northcutt, who I'm a big fan of. I'm super sad that he got let go from the UFC after being on a winning, like a higher win-loss ratio than most, right?
Yeah.
And then you got what's his name? Musa Meshi or whatever, the freaking BJJ stud who looks kind of like McLovin, but he rips your leg in half. Like, I wish they'd market these guys better, so that way when I talk to my casual MMA fans about them, they'd be like, oh yeah, dude, Rod Tang's the shit. But like, nobody knows who Rod Tang is except for you and like maybe 3 guys in the MMA group chat that we're in.
Yeah.
So like, and it's a shame because Rod Tang's a beast and he's young.
Yeah, he's only 25 years old. He's established as a guy. And and again,
he's a guy.
And I love JJ Smoke's comment here. Yeah, I mean, Mike Perry was built for it. I love that he called out or brought out Conor McGregor.
That Mike Perry would be the best in the world at, and that is BKFC and being like a gladiator in Roman times if there were no weapons involved. Like just bare hands.
I mean, just look at his face, man. You know that dude means business, man. He's tough as nails. That knows everything, man. He's been in some epic moments, and yeah, he's built for it. He had a moment there with Conor McGregor. Again, another reason why, like that. I mean, the fact that it attached someone like Conor, who is a global freaking iconic legend, superstar status, A-list celebrity, whatever you want to call him, right? Conor's that next level guy. He needs a co-sign on one of these. Maybe even Israel Adesanya is maybe the next level down as like just an elite talent. Maybe he decides if he just keeps running shot, maybe Dana will allow him to go out there and have a Muay Thai match against whoever they have the best that they can bring to the table. I just think that needs to be some sort of crossover event, or like you said, man, a heavy push and promoting, letting us know, maybe getting like more fans within the different disciplines, like eyeballs, getting them to these events. Again, get them more in the States. I'd love to try to go, man. That'd be a fun one to take a casual to just, hey, like introduce you to fighting in general. You're going to see a little bit of everything. A lot of fun stuff there in 1FC. Sky's the limit for sure. But yeah, I think it's going to take a crossover event or just a stamp or a cosign of approval from a Conor McGregor or an old legend or somebody that goes over there and is like, yeah, I'm willing to see what y'all can do. We'll see though, man. Mighty Mouse was like the perfect trade for him. I mean, they did so much with that, and I mean that's their guy, but again, you hardly know it. You wouldn't know who he really is. They don't promote him enough, in my opinion. So it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough, man. But I love it. I'm excited. I'll be tuned in on Friday. And we'll continue to watch any and all events moving forward.
Absolutely. Big fan of one. I just wish more people were big fans of one as well. That's the gripe here. We're not talking trash about one. We're both big fans of one. We just want them to get their shine.
The product's awesome.
The product is that's the biggest problem is like the product is amazing. I want more eyes on the product. Like I work in sales and I told literally one of my clients this in a product call today. Like you can have the best product in the entire world, but if nobody knows about it, you might as well have the worst product in the world.
That's the thing. And I think where UFC was smart, they got the ESPN, they got the global, the mainstream
That's
network.
why PFL is going to beat one.
Yeah. Like I understand like Amazon's great and everyone does have Prime, but like you said, like, I mean, I don't really use Prime for daily cable or anything. Like the only times I did was when Thursday nights was on Amazon Prime and I had to. So
and see, that's the thing is like when they had the Thursday night football on, that was the only time I would see an ad spot for it was during that. And that's why I was like, oh dude, they have the capabilities of doing like really good TV spots and things like that. But even then it was like, it was too few and far between. Like I didn't see it enough. Like repetition is key in this game of marketing. And
Facts.
I need to see it on Fox. I need to see it on Hulu when I like in between, like if Mary's watching Bob's Burgers and they're playing commercials every 8 minutes on Hulu, I need to see your commercial be one of the 10 commercials that's repeating every fucking 8 minutes.
Yeah, dude, a 10-second spot. It doesn't take much just to flash
that's the thing.
Tell them where it is, when, follow us, like, whatever it is, man.
Do like some anime Super Saiyan shit, like some Kai charging behind Super Sage Northcutt. It'd be like, he returns to the cage after 3 years away. Like, that's it. Boom, cut. Fade to black.
Dude, you do so many fun clips with Rod Tang, like eating punches, just sitting there looking like a juggernaut, like a DJ. Boss, bro. I mean, yeah, come on, man. There's a lot of clickbaity stuff that they should be putting out there in the internet sphere.
And like, bro, I would share the hell out of that stuff. Just give me a short TV spot. Like, but I'm gonna be hard pressed if like the only like dope content you have is like a 22-minute biography on a fighter. Like, it's. Nobody's going to watch that. Like, unless it's a live stream of you doing something with the fighter, like that's the only time people are paying attention to something that's 20, 30 minutes or longer is if it's like a podcast or a live stream or something like that. If they're going to just like your general consumption for a fighter video, you want something quick. You want a quick sizzle.
Yeah.
So, would love to see more of that kind of content coming out of one. Either way, like you said, the product is fire. And I cannot wait to watch it on Friday. I'll definitely be watching it on Friday. Super stoked. You, ladies and gentlemen, definitely might remember T-Piz, always taking the Piz. I'll be watching the fights with him on Saturday.
Let's go.
And the other homie who will eventually be on this show, who goes by Mildish Gambino, not Childish Gambino. Don't confuse the two. So yeah, should be a really, really solid Saturday. Friday is going to be damn good too. You already know I'll be sitting here watching the fights with Mare. As always, thank you guys for joining us today. We love it that you come in, you jump in the chat, and JJ Smoke, as usual, bringing the smoke and the fire with your picks and your hot takes.
Thank you, brother. Thank you all, ladies and gents.
Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate it, and we can't wait to see you all next time. And one more time before we go, just going to do a quick flash here. These are the units. We got 7.4 to win 74.9. And 5 to win 32.5 to show you what that looks like. We got Nano's picks here. Take a quick look. If you want to trail him, make sure you do. And make sure you follow him on Twitter. We got the link in the description below. Make sure you follow me on Twitter as well if you're not already. Boom, here's Olin's picks. That's me. MMAnomaly. These are my picks. If you want to trail me, please tag me on Twitter. Let's win this money together, guys and gals. And we cannot wait to see you all next time. So we'll see you then. Probably an episode on Sunday. I'll try and get it scheduled before it happens, and hopefully get all of you guys in the chat again. We'll see you then, JJ and folks. Until next time.
Let's go. See ya.
Let's go, baby.